Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. It's hot, hot, hot trade season. Everyone's doing it. And we're only halfway home. Some big games, too. Jazz Chisholm's a Yankee, by the way. Let's talk ball. Trevor Plouffe in person.
Oh. Shift got you.
Oh.
Yeah, Shift got you.
Oh,
Shortstop plays there.
Rays defense. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, presented to you by SeatGeek. Code Talkin10. Guys, we got a little juice this weekend. We were wondering what this deadline was going to look like. Thank God. I don't often say this. Thank God for the Rays. The fact that they run their organization completely differently changed the deadline in a big way. A couple former All-Stars on the move. I mean, dude, Paredes, Randy, Jazz Chisholm. There's a ton of trades. I'm happy we got here, and I'm happy Trevor Plouffe got here.
I am too. I got in the city late last night. Had a nice, I went downstairs at the hotel. There's a nice little restaurant there. I had a ribeye cap, Jake. Ooh. Caesar salad. Just really did it up. No wine. I'm on a little kick right now.
Good for you.
I'm trying to get this right.
You saw how soft your body was in Dallas, and you're
a little bit, yeah. I didn't love it. So I'm tightening it up. But always great to be in the city. The energy is palpable. I got my duct tape in case you get out of line today.
I like that.
Yeah. Or in case you are in line.
Oh, no.
What are we talking about? Here we go.
What we're talking about, a lot of trades today. It's going to be a unique episode because we're going to do a chunk of the trades. We'll see what we can get to in series, and we're still going to do a chunk of the second half of the show. But we got a lot of trades to dive into, and a reminder, actually double reminder. How about this? Double reminder. We're going to be live through the deadline tomorrow. We're probably going to go live at like 4:30-ish. I think the Jambino's going to be involved. Trev's going to be on site.
Yeah.
Trading Mets away, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Mets and Twins.
I'll be at City Field, yep.
They'll let you take the wheel for the last hour.
See if any new bodies pick up. And then Chris Rose is trying to get involved. We'll see like if Jolly or if the Mets or Phillies or they make a big trade. Like we've got bodies. So should be a fun day. It's kind of becoming an annual thing, so make sure you're here for that tomorrow. Get some live reactions. People love that. And then another one that we had a lot of meetings about this, and it's one of those things that when it's not real, you're like, yeah, that's a fun idea. And then it becomes real. We're playing a blitzball game to 100.
Oh, yeah.
In the warehouse. Thursday, August 1st, 12 p.m. Eastern, till however long it gets to get 100 runs. Me, Jimmy, and Joe's versus the We Got Ice guys and Shelfie. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess, normally I'm pretty juiced up for one of these reads, and this one kind of sucker punched me a little bit.
Are you guys going to be trying to give up runs to just, like, expedite the situation, or is this like we're going to try to
I'm trying to
prolong
win.
this.
I'm trying to win, Pop. I'm trying to win, and I'm trying to go home.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest win.
That's kind of, I might get that tattooed on my forearm. So go check that out. Thank you, everyone. Let's talk some ball, because this is, baseball on a national level doesn't win a lot. Baseball's winning right now.
It's Monday. Where are we starting?
Sports Center cut in last night, and they're talking about Jazz Chisholm on the Yankees. So I think the Rays are the topic. Rays for clicks isn't as sexy. I think the biggest, best player traded so far, Isaac Paredes to the Cubs. So maybe it's a little bit of the Rays dismantling / the best player available. An all-star third baseman, Isaac Paredes, a favorite of this show, gets traded to the Cubbies. And A, we were told the Cubs were going to be sellers. B, Isaac Paredes is really good, man. This guy was a big-time prospect that it didn't click with Detroit. The Rays kind of raised him. And for the past couple years, he's been an absolute mauler. 840 OPS last year. 792 this year, which is a 127 OPS plus. 25-year-old all-star. The Cubs get an upgrade. The Rays have brought in, I think I was counting today, 11 prospects. So we'll deep dive on each of them. But they also get Talkin' Baseball favorite Christopher Morel. So let's start there, Trev. I guess What do you like in this trade?
First, Pop, I didn't know this was the order we were going. I thought we were going to do the Burns and all these things. I'm actually happy we're starting off here because this is the meat and potatoes of the episode.
You only didn't know because you didn't listen because I told you.
Yeah, it's sometimes when you talk,
you just turn off.
Yeah, I zone out.
Ladies have that too.
Okay, so this was an interesting one for me because obviously sometimes when you go into trades like this, you're talking about guys, maybe a rental, and the other guy's got more team control. This was kind of an even swap there for the third baseman. I believe Morel has 1 extra year of team control, which the Rays definitely value that. But I think with the Cubs, I talked about them being in a precarious situation where they can't really, they're not looking to tear it down. They're not looking to sell because a lot of the guys they brought in, I mean, this is supposed to be their team. A lot of these guys are locked up, for years to come. So it didn't make sense for them to go do that, be what we call like in the middle. You can't be in the middle in baseball. So what I'm assuming what they're thinking is, hey, they like Christopher Morel. They do. I think he's a little bit less consistent as a Paredes is, and I believe that's kind of what they're banking on. Hey, we think he's an upgrade, albeit maybe a minor upgrade, but maybe a more consistent performer at third base, maybe a little bit better defender at third base. That he's going to be good for us this year, but really this is a move that's going to help them, in the next couple of years as well. So I feel like they saw it that way. We can upgrade at a position here. Maybe they can consider just selling Morel, not at his high point, but, at a decent value. And then for the Rays, I mean, this is, like you mentioned, this is what they do. They remove emotion from any dealings. They remove the standings from any dealings if they think that they can. I mean, I saw this in an article talking about why they're able to operate the way they operate, because they don't draw well. They don't have a huge media deal where other teams, if they were to operate like the Rays, would face scrutiny. But the Rays, this is like, it's become a thing for them. We just accept it, and because of the things I mentioned, it becomes almost acceptable. But it's successful too. The Rays, they bring in younger guys with more years of control, making a little bit less money, and that's just the way they do things. So, you get Morel, you get some prospects, and I mean, they've done that. I mean, how many guys have they traded away already? I believe it's like 3 or 4 guys already. And as you mentioned, they just continue to fill up their farm system. They got a few major league ready players, but really it's more about the future for them. And I think this is like a win-win for both sides. I think we've seen some of these trades now. I think the relievers are they're selling for a lot right now. They're hot. They're a hot ticket. This trade in particular, I think, is good for both sides.
Yeah, from the Rays side, obviously they believe in what they do on their pitching side, and they've accumulated a ton of pitching prospects. And the other sub-story for the Rays is that, like you just mentioned, a franchise that operates differently in baseball, good or bad. Like, we could do an episode on that in the offseason if we really wanted to. But for the Rays here, I think what's different this year is like next year is a Rays year.
Yes.
Like they've got all these pitchers coming back that they kind of got Paredes, not off the scrap heap, but they got him for a good price. They flipped that asset. And then like coming into the season, if you just looked at Morel and Paredes on paper, there's an argument between the year of control and I guess there's a Christopher Morel defense question that's really interesting in this, and I'm not sure what the Rays are going to do. Currently he's slotted in to be their DH, but I don't know. For the Cubs, they get a third baseman, which this had been a thing in Cubs land. Like, Can Morel be the third baseman? Your guy Patty Wisdom floating around. Like, they've kind of been looking for someone to secure the hot corner. Now it's no question to ask. Paredes plays a fine third base. Thick boy.
Yeah.
I know you like that. And he hits a ton. So we'll see. I mean, there's some interesting savant and pull numbers with Paredes. I don't think we're too worried about any of that. For the Rays, I think they get an asset with 1 more year of control that they probably have similar to Paredes, with also a couple chips, 2 prospects that if they cash in on that, that's kind of how the Rays work.
I'm sure they're looking at some underlying numbers saying, hey, we can get Morel to almost match what Paredes has done for us.
Yes.
Now, is that going to happen? I don't know, but they believe. That's what teams believe. They can do things better than other teams. The Rays are one of those teams that thinks they can scout better, they can develop better. That's just how they feel. So that's part of it. And then you're right. You get the and look, I am not going to sit here and pretend like I am a prospect guy. You guys know I'm not a prospect guy.
Yes, you are.
So Jansen and Biggie Bidge. How do you say this guy's name?
I think it's Biggie. We looked him up in the offseason.
Love that. Hey, Biggie, guess what? He went to Harvard. Harvard and the Rays together.
Yeah.
Like that's
little velo
I don't know if I
spike.
like that. I don't know if I like that. That's bad for baseball.
It was funny reading going through these trades and reading some of the real scouting reports. It's like Biggie's fastball went from 94.5 to 97 this year. I'm like, okay, that sounds
like
good.
That, yeah,
sounds huge. And yeah, give the Rays arms and see what happens. And the Cubbies, this isn't. I guess the other thing that's exciting, or I don't know, depending how you view the deadline. Because there was Yankees-Dodgers rumors for Paredes, where the Cubs, we don't know if they'll be a factor in this season, but this isn't just a this season move. Like, he's their third baseman for 3 years.
Yeah, I think 2028 he's a free agent. So yeah, it's an interesting move, and we thought that all along that they could go try to. They have some rentals they could get rid of. I didn't think they were going to trade Chris Morel. I don't think anybody had that on their book.
He was rumored before the season, but it was one of those like I don't know.
But if you have a chance to
trade him,
what you believe you're upgrading, which if you look at the numbers this year, they're definitely upgrading at third base.
Right.
If you have a chance to upgrade, these guys weren't like near the top of their like prospect rankings.
Right.
So, I mean, again, I like it. I think this makes sense for Chicago, and then obviously the Rays, like you mentioned, they operate on a different level. I think this makes sense for them as well. And imagine Morel. Flashy guy, like a lot of big moments, takes his time getting around the bases. Jose Siri, flashy guy, takes his time getting around the bases. Jose Caballero. This is Rays. This is Rays baseball, baby.
There's going to be some highlights. And yeah, Siri and Morel kind of.
How does that feel for you? Because
you're
you're a Morel
story
guy.
LA ball players.
You're a Morel guy, and now he's going to be just mashing against your Yankees.
No, you talk about your scouting department, heavy emphasis on Cuban ball players.
Oh, here we go.
the Kansas City Royals have traded for Michael Lorenzen.
Okay.
Ooh, from Texas, right? And he'd been pitching well.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I was told the Rangers are buying. What did the Rangers get?
Left-handed pitcher Walter Pennington.
You know Walter.
And he comes in on you and he'll go out too.
Yeah,
he's not
up
afraid.
And down.
Not as much up down. On
so,
Pennington.
okay, is that dealing from maybe a position of strength for the Rangers because they are expecting people back?
I mean, it instant reaction as we don't have the full Pennington scouting report. Yes, what you're saying that, I think they're
pretty freaking good this year.
They're supposed to have he's been very good this year. I mean, this feels like Chris Young in Texas doing what they think is best for the organization.
Okay.
Like the Royals are putting chips on the table, right? Like they went out, they traded for Hunter Harvey and gave up a couple things. I'm sure if Michael Lorenzen was on the table, there are teams interested this year that obviously has to be a prospect they're into, and they feel like Lorenzen's not going to be a difference maker for them down the stretch.
Yeah, maybe. And that's what's interesting about this trade is Kansas City has been like super healthy with their starting pitching. They've had 5 guys basically throw all of their games. It's been Lugo, Reagan, Singer, Waka, and Marsh who've just basically started all the games. So this is, I guess, starting pitching depth that you need in case anything goes down. I get it. I'm curious what that is saying about the Rangers because I've been asking for Nathan Eovaldi for my Twins for quite some time. Do we need him? I don't know. Bailey Ober is one of the best pitchers. More about him later. But I was assured yesterday by someone very high up that the Rangers are still considering themselves buyers even after they got swept this weekend and don't have a great percentage chance to make the playoffs. They believe they can go on a run. This is an interesting move for me now. It's got my head spinning a little bit.
Yeah, I guess the ripple effect's going to be interesting. I mean, even Dane Dunning's come back recently. He threw 63 pitches out of their bullpen. Urania feels super white when I say that.
Yeah, it does.
Didn't like that for me. I think this is them trading from a position of depth and thinking about the big picture Rangers that I don't know. I guess I don't know what's on the table the rest of the way, and I guess I wouldn't rule them out from buying, but I don't know. That's the thing with the deadline. Okay, a little breaking news there. That was brought to you by SeatGeek. Code Talkin 10. You guys know.
I love seats.
We kind of both took a seat when we got that breaking news. Go see a game. You got some new players to look at. I know there's a guy in the Yankees I'm very interested about. There's probably a player on your team that you want to see. And with code Talkin10, I almost said SeatGeek 10. Talkin10, 10% off. And that's if you've ever used any of the SeatGeek deals or anything like that. So if you're listening to this, that means you're probably a pretty big baseball fan. It means you're probably going to go to a game. Talkin10, save yourself on the SeatGeek app. So easy to use. I can use it. Trev, it's Monday, so we start in the AL.
We're staying in the AL.
Staying in the AL. Although, there's a cup. These teams are trading sometimes out of the AL, which would be the IL.
Who do you want to talk about next?
I want to clean up some Rays, and I guess there's two ways we could go to it. If we're staying in the AL, Eflin to the Orioles from the Rays, which, man. So this has been a debate on here before, and I know it frustrates. I think Jimmy's landed on the Rays aren't good for baseball. I think there was a little bit where they were unique. And now I think there's a good, healthy discussion. And maybe we're going to look back and the Rays do get a new stadium and they operate like a normal baseball team, kind of like what you're saying. No, because they're having a level of success with how they
are. They going to get a new stadium? I'm so out on we got a new stadium approved. What does that mean, dude?
Whenever I see a rendering for Tampa.
If they knock down the Trop and they get the guys out there with the golden shovel and
okay.
I need to see the picture.
These ridiculous people in suits put their shovel.
That's a bad tradition.
I am out on.
Here's the only thing I'll tell you.
I am out. Don't cut your ribbon with big scissors either.
If the Rays do that, you know who is going to be there?
Longo.
Okay, so we're kind of in on it.
If Longo does it, I'm in. Fine.
It'll be Evan Longoria Field.
Let's do Eflin. Rays trade
Longo
Zach
has a statue, bro.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Man. He's the guy. He's been bopping around there recently, too. He might get some reps.
Bopping there and in our comments section.
Zach Eflin and cash considerations for Mac Horvath, who I know you've liked out of the Orioles organization, Jackson Baumeister, and Matthew Etzel from Etzel's Pretzels. The bigger story here is Zach Eflin, one of the arms that people maybe thought would be available. Some money on the books, especially for the Rays this year and next year. I think there's an $18 million on the books for next year. So I guess for your Rays offseason coming up, pocket that one for what should be a big 2025 for the Rays. And then I guess on the Orioles' perspective, because we talked some Zach Eflin, there's not a big range. You're probably not going to look down and see, wow, they traded him for the deadline, 10 starts, a 2.1 ERA. You're also probably not going to see 10 starts and a 5.5 ERA. Like Zach Eflin's kind of going to Zach Eflin. That I guess for the Orioles, this is someone they're probably going to plan on having their rotation next year. And I guess it would be, does this limit them in Crochet or some of the other high arm talent that they've been rumored for?
I don't think so. I think this is a insurance policy, a guy that can, eat some innings, especially after there was some injuries to a couple of guys on their staff. So you slate him in at the back end of the rotation. I agree with you. I think he's going to be serviceable back there. Is this the big splash that I think a lot of people think the Orioles are going to make? No, it's not. I think they're still in play. I don't think Skubal's going anywhere, by the way. Everyone thinks, I was watching MLB Network, and they're like, is this Skubal's last start in Detroit? I'm like, no, man. Why would you ever trade a guy like that? With 2 years left of control, this guy's going to win the Cy Young this year. He's absolutely filthy, and Royce Lewis took him up top, by the way. First pitch.
Come on.
I got more on that later. But like this guy's nasty. I don't think he's going anywhere. I just cannot see that. If the Tigers trade Tarek Skubal, I forever am out on the Tigers. Like forever.
Okay.
Forever.
Okay.
Like I don't care when they get back and 6-7 years down the road, I will be out on them. Just clip. Okay. Yeah, so I think this is insurance if they do not go get a Crochet. I don't think Flaherty is an option for them. Maybe a Fetty is. I don't know. But I think this is for them, someone that they can put in at the back end of the rotation, save the bullpen, get some innings down the road. They know they're going to be in the playoffs. They can pare the rotation down at that point. I think Eflin fits the mold there.
Yeah. Current Orioles rotation: Burns, Grayrod, Dean Kremer, our guy Albert Suarez, Zach Eflin, and they do have Cade Povich starting game 2 of a doubleheader. So yeah, I mean you could find room for another starter in Baltimore. I know.
Oh yeah, I still think they're aggressively shopping for somebody like a Crochet. I do.
Yeah, I mean the Crochet stuff's gotten really interested. I know you and Rosie are both pretty H'd up over it. What I tell the people, because Crochet said he wants an extension, which we talked about a little bit on here. He also had he won't pitch the playoffs unless. So
Garrett Crochet, lefty for the White Sox, turned starter this year. He's already over his max innings that he's thrown, but he's one of the best pitchers in baseball right now.
It's been great.
It's been great. He's been phenomenal. And basically what he said, which is interesting, he's kind of taking this from, I believe, football, basketball, like that. The players do things like that in different sports that it hasn't really translated over into baseball. He has no leverage, really. He can't say, don't trade me. Like they can trade you. You have no leverage there. So what he's saying is, if I get traded, I want an extension or I will not pitch in the playoffs. He's trying to guard himself against injury. Obviously he was coming off injury, pitching this many innings as a starter. He also said he's not going to the bullpen. He'll only act as a starter. So this, I think a team that trades for him doesn't want him in the bullpen. They want him in the starting rotation. But to say I'm not pitching in the playoffs unless I get an extension, I think is foolish. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to create leverage. They want and some security here. I think they could have just went to any team they get traded to and said, we want an extension. And they would have said, okay. To put it out there like that, I think is interesting because what's he going to do? Do you think that guy's going to sit there and the team makes the playoffs and they're popping champagne, Jay,
right,
and the boys are having a good time, and then the next day he's going to show up like this? And what is everybody else going to say around him, man?
Right.
And you think he's really going to do that? Like, hey, kudos to you if you're going to do that, but I've been in a lot of clubhouses before, and that's going to be tough. So I also think if that was to happen, the team that traded for him, all they would do is lowball him an offer.
Right.
And he said no. And then they would go to the media.
We offered him an extension.
He said no. And then he's the bad guy. So you're setting yourself up to be the bad guy, pretty much in any situation.
Yeah, I guess that's where you're right. Leverage-wise, I think this just hurt the White Sox. It's kind of, hey, the rules are the rules in baseball. And I don't know. If anything, all right, Garrett, you can stay in Chicago. Not only do we have to figure out a trade package for a guy who all of that leverage stuff he's thrown out is partially because fear of injury.
Yeah. So
a guy that's pitching innings he's never seen before. Garrett Crochet pitched 12.2 innings last year. 0 the year before that. I don't know. The Crochet trade for me never made sense kind of because of some of this math, and now he's added more math to the equation that
I think it makes a ton of sense to trade for him before all this stuff. I mean, I still think it makes sense. I still think teams are going to take that chance because you don't get the opportunity to acquire a pitcher like this very often.
Right.
I don't even think is his first year of ARB this year, so he's got 3 more years of control.
So if you're a front office, you're the Orioles.
Yes.
And you guys agree on it. They want your guy Connor Norby, Cade Povich is coming over, whatever. if you're the Orioles, you just say, hey, you're in the rotation, and like don't even talk about you're not going to pitch in the postseason.
I think you, of course.
Here's a bad extension offer. Here's for 4 for $40.
I think you do talk about it, and I think you entertain a real extension for him.
Right, because you would be interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, this guy can become. I mean, look, it's a small sample size.
But what's his real extension number right now? He's got 1 season.
Exactly, it makes it difficult. But that's also works for the club that trades for him. Hey, you don't have a massive track record here, so
right.
you're not.
What are you looking for?
You're not going to get 30 a year, dude. It's just not going to happen. Especially you're pre-arb, or you're in your arbitration year. So like you're going to get. I mean, what? This is what I would tell him. Okay, you want an extension? We'll buy out your arb years and 1 free agent year. Or we'll just buy out your arb years, then you can become a free agent. Sure, go ahead. We'll take the next 3 years of you. But that's limited because your arb numbers are going to be capped. This is not you're not going to get 30 million. You're going to get
a real extension.
8, and then you're going to get 12, and then you're going to get, we'll give you 20.
Yeah.
And here you go, 30 million for 3 years.
And a team option for 22.
It's interesting.
It's one of the big names we're watching the rest of the deadline, and I think we drove it home, but without stats. Garrett Crochet is leading the American League in strikeouts and FIP.
He's disgusting. Anyways, back to the Rays. Three more prospects just keep on coming over here.
11 bodies that the 11 prospects that the Rays said we want.
Yes.
And
dude, we haven't even got to Randy Arozarena yet.
Early for.
No, it's crazy to me. And I don't know, Trev. Maybe this is going to make sense. Maybe it's not. Kind of my specialty.
Yeah. You live there.
There's a lot of guys in the minor leagues. A lot of bodies.
Yeah.
And, we different off season, on the record, off the record, we talked about, there's a lot of bodies that are there to be bodies for the actual prospects. It sounds kind of rude.
It's not as much as it was before because they pared the minor leagues down. But yes, there's still guys that teams truly believe in, and then there's guys that are there that are kind of filling the other spots.
And sure, some of these guys are filler, flyer guys that it's like, I forget what trade it was. One, like they were giving real scouting reports, and then they were just like, yeah, and this 19-year-old's a flyer. Like it was no heavy fastball. It was no anything. It was just like flyer. It's like, okay, on what? Anyways, adding 11 guys to an organization, everyone thinks they're going to be pro ball, like MLB ball players. I don't know. There's something off about that to me. You know what I'm saying?
Like for the kids?
For like everyone in the Rays org.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Everyone's trying to make one team, and now you just added 11 bodies?
That's how it goes, man. It's so cutthroat because really, you talk about, hey, there's, 26, maybe it's 28 in the minor leagues, your roster, but that's not the job anybody wants. Like the job is the big league job. So you got 26 guys on the big league roster, and every single year, these dudes below you are like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Like get him out of here. I'm better than him. I was just talking to someone. We put the Javi Baez thing out yesterday, like he's having trouble. And someone was like, dude, can you imagine if you're in AAA and you're playing shortstop and you're raking and you see Javi Baez taking at bats like that and you're not getting the call?
Tough.
Why? Because he had good years before and they paid him a lot of money? That's very tough to be blocked by someone like that right now, even though he hit a couple homers against my Twins.
Let's round off some Rays because the other
More
two.
Rays.
Randy goes to the Mariners. I'll start off with some claps. This one was easy for me. It was one of the first trades. Seattle needed hitting. They went out and they got a hitter. Randy's price tag, like in the world, if you're in the world of baseball, Randy hadn't been great this year. Randy's about to start getting paid.
He's been great.
He's been coming. Yes, that's the last 2 months. Excuse me. He has been Randy Arozarena. So the Mariners get that guy for again, prospects that didn't wow you. I guess if you're outside of baseball and you know the lure of Randy Arozarena, and you'd be like, wow, they must have gave up. No, I mean, Brody Hopkins, Aiden Smith, and a player to be named later. I
guess
guess
Johnny Hopkins?
Smoke weed with Johnny Hopkins. And it is funny, and you love all the prospect people are coming out like, dude, you can't actually even give the prospect rankings right now because they changed so much. And it is kind of true. Passan was out for blood on the.
Oh, Passan was
which
like,
trade was
you
that?
don't know
the Phillies
ball.
trade. That was the Phillies gave up 2 pitching prospects and
He was out. Yeah, he was coming.
Maybe we should update the rankings more.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Seems pretty easy
I would
to
love
quarterly
the info.
upgrade.
Let's do a July. Let's do an
Every
All-Star
month.
break rankings update.
Also, Jeff Passan.
Shuffle it every month.
Has
free
Jeff
content.
Passan been like going around the Phillies minor league system to check these guys out?
I think that was his I know ball flex. I think
He knows those guys are having.
Is he
good
in
years.
Clearwater?
He knew
Is
those
he
two-
like heading down there checking minor league ball out?
Randy Arozarena is in Seattle. I love it for them. They did something. I was talking all about how they should trade one of their big pitchers and make the big splash. I'm not saying that should necessarily be out if the right person was available. But they get Randy, who's been balling for 2 months, has the playoff track record if Seattle can get there for a couple prospects. So I'm in on that. And then the final one, just because it's Rays City, Jason Adam, the very talented reliever, unpopular for some unpopular things he said. But baseball-wise, is one of the grossest relievers in baseball. Versatile, can do multi-innings if you need it. San Diego really needed help on their back end outside of Suarez, who'd been really good for them. And they got a haul for Jason Adam, which I think it shows more so where the pitching market is, that the Padres paid, that people... I think this is the first trade that people circled and are like, check in on this one in a couple years, because I don't know, Lesko's a real big prospect. Homer Bush Jr., we love seeing that. So I don't know. Let's finish off the Rays.
I love when you say finish off. Yeah, I mean, like the Adams deal, or Adam, excuse
Adam.
me. Yeah, my bad.
I guess it would be the Adams deal.
Adam deal. Who cares? Who cares?
It is Adam's deal.
Jason Adams deal.
Addendum to the
He didn't
Adam
make
deal.
the deal, though.
That's tough.
I think for San Diego, they're obviously looking to get another high leverage guy. They expect to be in the playoffs. I believe they have the second wild card spot right now. They understand the importance of that in the postseason. So you got Suarez, Morejon, Estrada, Adams. I'm just start calling them Adams. Why not? I don't care. Sorry. And then the Arozarena deal, I think, obviously, it's great for Seattle. They've needed offense forever. They just swept this weekend, which is good for them, although I forget who was against. It wasn't against somebody good. Who was it against?
What's the question? Who the Rays beat?
Oh, the White Sox. No, Seattle swept the White Sox, obviously.
Yeah. Good.
They've lost 14 in a row again. They set the record again, which was established earlier this season. Go White Sox, go, baby. So Randy obviously fits right in the middle of their lineup. They have to do more than that. I'm sorry, that's not enough. Although I do love Randy. I think he's got the postseason chops, all that good stuff. He fits perfectly in Seattle. I really, really love the deal for them. What a lot of people are pointing out, which makes sense, is the 2 prospects that came over for Randy going to the Rays, they're okay. They're pretty good. But the player to be named later could also be contingent on many different things and could be probably the biggest piece of this deal. There's probably, a lot of times when they do this, there's 3 or 4 names that they'll list. And then sometimes it'll be like, hey, if Randy plays this many games, we get this guy.
Right.
If Randy hits this many homers, we get this guy.
Right.
So it could end up being somebody very, very good.
I feel like if we got our front office that we've talked about, I feel like we would have so much crap like that in trades.
Oh, my gosh. If Randy... Okay, let's try.
Because that's basically betting. It's basically betting.
If Randy hits you 15 homers, this many are... Yeah, I would love that.
Okay. We'll work on that.
So that's... The Rays, as you mentioned, just added a ton of people taking advantage of what we've been saying all along. It's a seller's market, dude.
Yeah.
Like, if you made up your mind early and started dishing players out to these teams, like, they'd be overpaying.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. And now the Rays, yeah, again, like that's just the way they do things.
Jason Adam is really fun to watch pitch. It's one of those when you see a reliever that has 3 pitches and you're like, oh, damn, that can be a cheat code sometime. San Diego, boost their outlook. And yeah, I think, and circling back to the Cubs-Rays trade, like we talked about the Cubs being sellers. I don't know. If we look back, especially next year where the Rays are set up pretty, or maybe the next couple, depending how a lot of these guys pan out. In the Cubs, who's a front office I've been tough on recently, I don't know. It could be one of those, should the Cubs have approached this deadline differently? Maybe they still are. Like, who knows? Because Isak is a play for a few years. Trev, I think there's one big position player, and then there's like a ton of relievers. And it does happen to be with the New York Yankees. So
I can't wait to hear about this.
Let's talk a little Jazz, Chisholm, and it's brought to you by T-Mobile. Trev,
I know them.
Yeah, that's because
everybody knows them.
That's because they're America's largest 5G network.
Yes, they're all over baseball.
If you're trying to keep track of everything going on in the baseball world, like say if you travel with the Minnesota Twins,
I do.
Oh,
I do.
T-Mobile, the best 5G coverage in the game, whether you're watching games, checking stats, or whatever else Trevor's doing on his cellular device. Check it out with T-Mobile, even listening to podcasts. How about that? This summer, when you want to follow your team on the go, you need T-Mobile. Go check it out. T-Mobile.com/coverage. Stay connected to your team, home or away. There's a link in the description. You guys know T-Mobile. Did we just get your coffee delivery?
I asked for some water.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So no? Thank you, Taylor.
Nobody knows how to make coffee.
Please don't bring him anything else. Jazz Chisholm to the New York Yankees, Trev. We've talked about this a lot.
Yes.
We talked about Jazz Chisholm.
I didn't have Jazz Chisholm going to the Yankees.
I didn't either. Okay. Jazz Chisholm, I did want him to go to an organization where he wouldn't be the featured guy. He did land there. I
had him going to the Braves.
I did too. I agreed with that one, where I guess there's in-division stuff. Sometimes we rule that out for a team like the Marlins. Jazz Chisholm is on the Yankees. He made his debut last night, played center field. There's a lot of discussion about the Yankees' upcoming moves. They said he's open to playing a little bit of third base. He kind of listed as infield. Gleyber Torres, who plays second base for the Yankees, had a couple quotes last night that made it seem like he is not excited about the prospect of potentially playing third base, which that would be the other option because DJ's really been struggling, and those guys have a higher profile than someone like Oswaldo. The bigger thing for the Yankees, and we did a whole 30 minutes just on this, so if you're really looking for baseball content today, Joe's is on there, Beebs, we do a whole instant reaction on it. There's some good stuff there outlook-wise for the next couple years of the Yankees. Jazz is still in his ARB year, so he's not making a lot of money. So, I mean, this has layers into the Juan Soto extension and stuff because you can probably plug and play Jazz somewhere for next year, whether that's outfield, infield, wherever. The Yankees, again, they give up some depth prospects, so that's the other thing as a Yankee fan you like. It's none of the guys that you've really had circled. I think the big piece, Augustin Ramirez, a 22-year-old power-hitting catcher. I think he had 20 homers in the minors this year. In the Marlins, that's been such a weak spot for them ever since Real Muto. I think you can tell there's a little bit of excitement. Yankees needed more Major League ball players, and they get a guy who has a chance to be a plus ball player without all the, I don't know. I guess there's Jazz's biggest problem is he's had some star-focused things, and people think he's not a star baseball-wise. With all that, Trev,
I think this is going to help some of that stardom. I think we're going to see a lot of Jazz Chisholm at the end of the season and probably into the offseason. He's going to be in a lot of advertisements. That's what I'm guessing. I like it. I'm very curious to see how they use him defensively. Do you guys want to get Judge out of center field? I feel like that's a yes.
Yes, but the other thing looming is Jason Dominguez is playing minor league games again.
Okay, I love that.
And
so that's where the versatility comes into play.
Yeah, and I'll put this out there. One of Jimmy's favorite things about the trade has been that, okay, if there's a problem in the outfield, whether that's Verdugo or center field, Jazz Chisholm, knock yourself out. If Gleyber has troubles or get traded, second base. And now with third base in play, Jazz Chisholm is a high-level insurance policy that's not really an insurance policy. He's going to play, but it's got them covered on some different angles.
Good teams have versatile players. That's the bottom line, especially in today's day and age where you're platooning a lot and you're pinch hitting, doing a lot of things. You need guys that can move around.
You're either cracked like the Phillies and the Braves, or even, those Dodgers teams for years. Chris Taylor was jumping around. The outfield.
Mookie
Belly.
Betts.
Mookie's their shortstop sometimes.
So I like that. I'm very curious to see. I think I said this about Stroman, and I know he's had a bad start, so people are all over him, but he's been a good pitcher for the Yankees. I think I think this will be a good move for Jazz, like baseball wise, like in the long term. I think he's going to like New York. I think there are certain guys that need the pressure, that need the lights, and they perform better when they have them. I mean, Jazz down in Miami, sweet, it's Miami, it's fun, but like the baseball there, I mean, come on, you're bored.
2 players on the team that might be the first 2 players Jazz has ever played with that he knows they're better than him and like will learn from baseball wise.
I think there's a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
I get where you're going with that for sure. Like
there's been respected vets on the Marlins, but not guys that Jazz is like, that guy's better than me.
Aaron Judge is, I mean, he's the captain.
Yeah.
You are going to listen no matter who you are if Aaron Judge speaks. So I think it's good. I think it's good. You mentioned the catching prospect that went over. I mean, you guys have kind of developed a catcher in Tyler Wells. So like, hey, Austin. Oh, Tyler. Who's Tyler?
That's the Baltimore.
Yeah.
Hey, at least.
I was there.
It's okay.
Around it.
So, yeah, I mean, hey. Didn't have Jazz going there, but as, I'm digesting it, I'm liking it. I want to ask you a question because I feel like this is kind of a hot topic.
Okay.
He comes out, first of all, debuting in Fenway is awesome. He comes out of the dugout. First time you're seeing him in a Yankee uniform. He's got like a green belt on and a backwards hat. I don't think I've ever seen anybody wear a Yankees hat backwards. How are we feeling about that?
So the one thing it's been, and it was a gassed moment earlier this year.
I've never seen a Yankee hat besides like a civilian wearing it backwards.
So Soto does it after the game. So that's been a new thing this year.
Yes, I have seen that. You're right.
And we were like, Juan Soto. Like,
that's
let's
also
go.
different.
Which is pathetic.
It's also different. Juan Soto is different.
Because it's Juan Soto.
Yeah, it's Juan Soto.
I'll also admit, Yankee fan-wise, that's pathetic. That matters.
It is kind of.
I guess, man, I'm just going to hit the people with the bad analysis that you don't want. If Jazz Chisholm plays great for 2 months, it's all sick. It's all awesome. If Jazz Chisholm has a bad 2 months of baseball, which any baseball player has, I don't know about the belt. What's going on with the hat?
Like, why you gotta have the belt? Why you gotta be different?
It's just I was texting with our guy Cole Tucker. Obviously,
shout out.
hot. And he's calls a baseball guy. He's like, "What do you think about Jazz, bro?" And I was like, "Dude, it's if he has a good 2 months, the city's gonna be obsessed with him.
100%.
He's cool. He's athletic. Like they have such little athleticism, and that's again the Yankees invest in guys like Cole, Judge, Soto. That okay, they do their stuff incredibly well. Giancarlo Stanton at this point. That watching Jazz, even he took third base last night and was like, he had a cool quote about it. He's like, yeah, I didn't get my hit till late. I had to go show the guys what else I could do out there. Okay. He's probably going to get in fairly graded for 2 months. If he has a good 2 months and the Yanks are winning games again, Jazz Chisholm is the star.
Yes.
If he plays bad and the Yankees go into funk, it's like, oh, Jazz shit, New York City. These guys are so it's dumb. It's the beauty of what we do. I don't know. I think, like we've said, dude, Judge and Soto naturally do so much heavy lifting that if anyone else is contributing up and down the lineup, Jazz Chisholm is going to be the fourth or third best contributor, and that's kind of what we've wanted to see.
All right, enough Yankee talk, but I have one last question for you. And Beavers, you can answer this as well. Number of times we see Jazz, Soto, and Judge go back to back to back to lead off a game.
God.
I think it's going to happen once.
Yeah.
Over under half.
I mean, I don't want to throw you under the bus, but you said the Padres were going to do that like 20 times when they first brought in their new lineup.
With Soto?
I think I'll give you once. Judge and Soto have gone back to back a chunk that Jazz. Actually, yeah, one.
Okay.
I don't believe in it. I wouldn't bet on it.
It seems like their plan for this season right now isn't Jazz leadoff, but that can change.
Not?
That can change with Verdugo having another bad week.
And I think it's going to be interesting to see. The Yankees were supposedly in on Isak. The Yankees are supposedly in on everyone, but I actually think they are because they're a championship contender and they have a lot of flaws that they should be in on everyone. The Yankee fans are interested to see what the next move looks like. And I don't know. I think they're like, I don't know. The Yankees do bad sometimes with guys who like to be in the media and outspoken, although we were laughing in the past couple of years. They've brought in Stroman. They brought in Donaldson. They've now brought in Jazz. Was there one more guy that we were all like,
Doogie.
Clint Frazier.
Doogie had a tough rep. Jackson Frazier.
The way things ended in Boston.
Yeah, like he kind of wasn't coming off a high note. So, I don't know. The baseball will decide it, but Yankees need MLB players, and Jazz Chisholm's an MLB player.
Can we get to the trade, which I think is the biggest trade that's happened so far?
Sure, please lead us in.
The Philadelphia Phillies,
okay,
who've had the best record in baseball for quite some time. They acquire Carlos Estevez.
Yes.
Who has been an absolute lights-out closer for the Angels this year. It's a rental, pure rental.
Yeah.
They gave up some dogs to get him.
This was the trade Passon was freaking out about.
And again, I'm not going to say this name. I'm just going to call him Clausen because that's my friend Jimmy. But I think it's Clausen and Aldegeri. Two pitchers that are pretty highly regarded in the Phillies system. This is a Dave Dombrowski special. If Dave Dombrowski had a restaurant, this would be the special.
Right.
This is what he'd be known for. He's going for it.
Yeah.
The Phillies we talked about, their roster is pretty dang set. Now, they went out, and I guess we'll talk about...
Yeah, this is a two-part, kind of.
He went out and got Austin Hayes as well from the Orioles. He got him for Sir Anthony and somebody else. Who else was it? Somebody else.
Might have been a prospect, but yeah.
So the Phillies now have addressed...
Pache, excuse me.
Christian Pache. Pache. So they went out... I like Estevez the best because, they have great relievers at the back end of their bullpen. They had, I believe, 2 reliever all-stars in Hoffman and Strom, Alvarado at the back end of the bullpen, Kirkring. There's guys up and down that they can go to. But I feel like Estevez is a guy, it's like he adds to that mix, but in a major way. Like he's going to be throwing, he might even be closing for them during the postseason. Right. Like he comes over, he hasn't given up, over the past 2 months, he's given up no runs, 3 hits, 2 walks in 18 innings. They have a 140 OPS against him.
Strong.
Like, this guy is a lockdown reliever. He knows they're going to be in the postseason. This is a Dombrowski move. He's failed with bullpens before in some of the teams that he's brought to the promised land. He's trying not to let that happen again. This is, in my mind, Estevez is the biggest thing that's happened so far when it comes to World Series odds. And look, I know the Mariners desperately needed Randy Arozarena. I know that. But I just think this continues to put, I had the Phillies winning the World Series. This continues to add on to that. Like they are a team right now.
Yeah, and the Austin Hayes trade, I think that took people by surprise because that was contender to contender, which I'd been daydreaming about. And Sir Anthony Dominguez, if you've been watching recent playoffs, you've seen that guy pitch some big innings. Austin Hayes is a MFer in the best way. That's a guy that's a pesky at bat that makes diving catches. Phillies already loves him because he came over and said, I joined a better team. Yep, Austin Hayes, you're good. I think people were surprised because they thought the Phillies were going firm center fielder because they wanted to lock that up. And maybe they got something else going on. Lou Bob's still out there. We'll see. But I think Phillies fans had a little bit of wait, our relieving depth is really impressive. When you're talking
don't matter
wipeout innings. And they were like, okay, but I guess if they're trading for a strength, blah, blah. And then they go out and bring in Estevez, who, for me, there's always still something in guys actually closing games. He's been closing games the past 2 years. And, how much would his baseball reference page feel different if the beginning of his career wasn't in Colorado from ages 23 to 29? Yes. With the Angels, he's been 3.36 with 51 saves over the past 2 years. He's an absolute moose, 6'6", 277 listed. And yeah, I saw some of the baseball guys being like, well, the peripherals have him not, he should regress a little bit. And it's well, the stats you just listed, yeah, every reliever will regress a little bit. But the Phillies, it's my new game to play if you guys want to get involved. Compare your roster to theirs. Because, man, if you're trying to win the World Series this year, especially in the NL, you're probably going to have to go through them. In the AL, I don't know if they'll be waiting for you on the other side. But, God, when you look at that team on paper, you're like, that's what a great baseball team looks like.
I think what they're going to do, I'm talking about the Phillies now, with Hayes, is platoon him with Marsh. Maybe they both end up playing every day, but he mashes lefties. You have Marsh, a left-handed hitter that can hit on righties days. So if they do end up going and getting a center fielder, all of a sudden now you just got an extremely above-average outfield.
Yeah.
I don't think Dombrowski's done. That's just not how he operates. It's not this close. This close to the World Series. Not when they feel like they have a real chance to do it, he's pulling the trigger.
Yeah, and we'll see. Hey, maybe Baltimore taps into something with Sir Anthony. He got the hold for them the other day. If they do, I mean, Kimbrel, Cano, Sir Anthony. That's
the guy Klassen that the Angels got. I did see again, not a prospect guy. Did see somebody put a clip of his gyro slider, which again, don't get me started on the naming of sliders. We used to call that adding and subtracting. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
It was nasty, by the way. I want to just get something off my chest.
Okay.
This chest right here. I've been working out lately, by the way.
Happy for you.
And I'm going to find this out today because, Seth Lugo has 15 pitches, right?
Right.
A bunch of different types of fastballs, whatever. Does Sal have 15 different buttons? He doesn't. There's no way. I think there's 6 buttons on the pitch comm.
Dude.
So, like, if you call slider... Hey, bro, pick what you're going to do with the slider. It's just a slider, and you're either going to grip it a little harder or a little less. You're going to get around it. You're going to get it extended. You're going to add some velo, subtract some velo to add or subtract depth. Like, it's a slider.
Because also,
Sorry, everybody out there that's going to be like, old man, like, that's my one
slider down in a way, right? Like, I need a lot of buttons on that thing.
No. What do you call a slider in? Throw the slider where I set up. It's moving one way. Sliders don't go two ways.
So you don't think you need an in or out? Okay, fastball.
They do have that, but also it's like, hey, I'm a target, bro.
And you can also if it's a righty pitcher and there's a lefty batter, you could throw a backdoor slider or slider down and in. So
it's where I set up.
Okay.
Anyway,
so we don't need those.
There is direction. There is direction. If you're asking, there is direction. All I'm just saying is I'm sick of everybody. Gyro sliders, sweeper. Okay. Sweepers don't even sweep anymore. There's it's just parameters of depth and horizontal break. And it's like, okay, sometimes they do it and sometimes they don't.
I like all the words you're saying.
Add and subtract.
Let's see. Trev, there's a hodgepodge of relievers. AJ Puck to the D-backs. Like that. He has some really good reliever numbers. Looked good in the uni. Ryan Stanek to the Mets.
See him tonight. Yimi Garcia,
who's a big... people thought he was going to be one of the bigger pieces traded this deadline. I'm not laughing at Yimi because he can be an impact reliever for you, but I'm laughing because this deadline kicked into gear. If it lands at this, we're not going to look back and be like, whoa, all-time great deadline. You don't really have the headlining bands. The second-tier moves that we've already covered have been pretty strong.
Yes.
So, yeah, I guess Yimi Garcia to the Mariners after they traded Stanek, so a little parts in, parts out there. And then there's a couple catchers. Nate Pearson acquired by the Cubs, so I guess we should check off the relievers because the final box is a couple catchers.
What do you want to say about the relievers? I mean, Yimi goes there. He made some adjustments. I think he throws a slider way more now. He's going to be a back-end guy for the Mariners, and that's good. But Mariners, I mean, how much? We don't need pitching, bro. All I hear from Mariners fans is we can develop relievers at the drop of a hat. So, okay, this is great. Happy for you guys, but we need more hitting. Randy's not enough.
Yeah, I guess there's a funny. I saw some people being mad because the Mariners traded Stanek, who's proven MLB reliever. They bring in Yimi Garcia, and it's like, oh, Mariners just trade at a certain point. Yet we just complimented Dombrowski, Sir Anthony out, Estevez in. It's not exactly apples to apples, but I don't know, your reputation a little bit as a team kicks into
I
a
think
trade.
the rosters are completely different. I obviously love what the Mariners have done with their pitching staff, and it's a different scenario.
Okay, that's fine. Danny Jansen to the Sox, kid. You excited?
Well, Reese McGuire,
Carson
out. There's low hanging fruit there. I saw on Instagram.
Not for us.
Some good comments.
Not for us.
They said they told him to beat it.
Yeah,
I don't know how low the fruit's hanging.
that's
Oh man,
it's tough.
I don't know what you do.
That's
with
something
that.
you
It
can't
is tough.
shake,
I know
you know?
can't shake that one.
You can't shake that.
Yeah. Locker room talk.
I don't know. He's going to
sticking
be
with
splitting time with Connor Wong, who's been great this year. And then Carson Kelly to Texas. I don't know. Maybe there's some Texas cool again. That's kind of interesting though. They added like
He's a backup.
catcher.
He's a backup,
but we're trading away Michael Lorenzen. So that is
he's been good offensively for the Tigers this year, especially I'm talking about for a catcher. So, getting a catcher to, Spellheim, and you're not just completely giving up an offensive slot in your lineup, I think is an upgrade for them.
Yeah. Interested to see.
And Carson Kelly bigger than you think.
Really?
I played against the guy.
Okay.
Didn't remember him being. He's like a 6'1", 6'2" guy.
Well, and I know the bigger part of that you're excited about, Tigers get to call up their catching prospect, Dylan Dingler.
Obviously. Say that
Some
again.
pop,
How do you say
Dylan
it?
Dingler.
Dylan Dangler?
Out of Ohio State. The Ohio State University.
Is that it?
I think that's it. I know
Gosh,
you
we
want to talk
crushed
about
that.
the Nick Mears acquisition by the Brewers, which we laugh. It didn't get mentioned in this, and we're going to look up and doing Fuego in 2 weeks and go, Nick Mears. All he's done for the Brewers is strike out every batter he faced.
So the White Sox have done nothing. They're supposed to be the darlings of the trade deadline. So, figure that out, Chris Getz. You have the clock is ticking, playa. Blake Snell is an interesting one. He just struck out 15 dudes in a game.
Yeah, some rumors there that everyone's calling in on Snell.
And I would love that. He's back. He said, look, I didn't have a spring training. I'm finally feeling my pitches. This is who I am. I don't think Tarek Skubal's going. We still have Tanner Scott available, and Nardi is another lefty.
Right.
I think left-handed relievers will probably be a big draw, and they're like the guys. So Marlins cashing your chips there.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, I think to close this out before we do, we'll go through a couple of the big games, and we still want to highlight our guys at the back end of the show. Teams that we really still need to see something from: the Chicago White Sox, like you said.
Sure.
I mean, they have to unload a lot.
They don't have to because these guys are Fetty, they should, but these other guys, they could wait till the offseason. If they don't get the package, maybe they tuck some sense into Crochet, but hey, can you stop saying that
but
stuff?
I guess the White Sox are still getting in the game. Like Fetty has to be traded.
You sure hope so.
And probably a reliever, and probably like Lubob should. I think some team will go for it, but we'll see.
I guess they don't absolutely have
Flaherty's
to.
Fetty's got to go.
Fetty, they really, really should.
Flaherty from Detroit.
I was hanging with Jack. We went. We didn't go out to dinner. His chef cooked us a nice meal.
Oh,
no big deal.
That's nice.
And then we were talking, and a prominent player was texting him saying, "Hey, GM's talking about you. Like, do you want to come play for us?" Very prominent player, by the way. I expect him. I think it's L.A. I think it's Houston. The Yankees could be in on him as well.
Oh. So okay, Detroit's got to get in the mix there. Houston could get in the mix, but they don't need to.
Sure.
They're Houston. Royals have been dancing. Angels have a couple smaller parts
What
to
about Tyler
unload.
Anderson? If they're going full rebuild, I think
Tyler Anderson.
Yeah.
I mean, Pilar's there, and there's interest, so they're still.
Renhefo.
Renhefo is one of the rumors. They don't have to move him, but it seems like it would make sense.
He's at year and a half. So
your Twins maybe getting in the mix more.
I do not expect them to be
Okay.
active. I really, really do not. And I think Twins fans aren't happy about that.
Right.
I know there's been some talks. I've been talking to some high-level execs. I don't know how I ended up here, bro. I don't know how I ended up here. But me and the Twins.
Family. Toretto.
I just in my mind, knowing this kind of the situation there, and just knowing who they have, like I think they would like. I think they would like. Well, a left-handed reliever.
Okay.
So that would be like the one thing that if they were to be aggressive on, it would be that.
Okay. Yanks are always in the mix on everything. Oakland, no Mason Miller, punching tables.
He could still be traded.
Brent Rooker price tag is supposedly really high, so they don't have as many as you might think. Texas is a huge question mark right now. Excited to see that. Toronto with a couple pieces they can definitely unload, and Tampa still has, I mean, between like Yandy Diaz, Brandon, like nobody's ever safe in Tampa. That they still got some mix to get into.
There's a lot of players that are still out there. We're our show tomorrow. I'm assuming we'll have.
Dodgers haven't done anything.
By the time this comes out and before our show tomorrow, there's going to be more moves for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. Mets, Phillies, Pittsburgh still hasn't done. And I was informed by the Pittsburgh front office that they were going to trade.
You were informed that one of the main dogs was going to a main team a long time ago. That we're lucky you didn't pull the trigger on that one.
We'll see. Yeah. That's when you got to know when to hold them. San Diego looking into Snell, obviously. Okay, I guess this is my final question because I think everything else, like St. Louis, probably looking to soft add. There's a couple other teams. Atlanta would love to add on the peripherals. Something. If you're the Giants, what do you do?
I think you have to listen to people and see what can you get for a Blake Snell. Where are they at right now in the standings? I'm supposed to be reading them right now. They are
53 and 55.
3.5 games back of the wild card. You'd have to jump 4 teams to get there. I think you entertain a soft sell. I do. I would entertain a Snell, especially if he. I mean, coming off a 15 strikeout performance, bro. And knowing that he can walk at the end of this year, so he pitches, right. Has a good 2 months at the end of the season. And, hey, it's great for you for this season, but you could probably cash in on some chips right now.
So Lair's hot. Tyler Fitzgerald's been killing it for them. And it feels like they just got Robbie Ray back. I don't know. I think the Giants think like it's all coming together.
Well, if you go Logan Webbs, Hicks, Harrison, Robbie Ray, and you can get Snell, you can get a lot for Snell. Like they've been working with 2 starters.
Right.
4 is fine.
Don't get greedy.
Yeah.
Robbie Ray. I don't know.
I would entertain a Blake Snell trade for sure.
That'd be interesting. That'd
Player option for next year. He's not going to take that.
That'd be fun. All right, guys, that was a lot of that.
Was a lot of
and
talk.
There's more coming in the next 24 hours, 28 hours or so, 29. Not a math pod. We'll be live with you guys tomorrow as we react to hopefully a couple more big ones. Still a lot of pieces that have to move. Would love to see if a couple, that Snell one getting in the mix. Trev, I could do like a super burn of all the games. I'm just trying to get to your standout performer. You know what I'm saying?
This is what we do.
Okay.
I think you burn. I do standings. I think you burn, I do standings, and then we go straight into standout.
Okay.
The people want to hear what happened in the games as well.
Let's cook.
Go.
Wow. In the American League, Trevor, the New York Yankees. Oh, I guess we can talk about this. The New York Yankees take 2 out of 3 from the Boston Red Sox after having their hearts ripped out Friday night in the stands. They come back down to their last strike on the Saturday night game on national TV. They end up getting it done in 10 innings, and then Carlos Rodon shoves. Aaron Judge is playing on a whole different level. And the Red Sox, they are now kind of firmly on the struggle bus where Yankee fans are praying that they are out of it. The Houston Astros, they took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. Another little Houston win streak. Kevin Biggio homering in front of our dad. We like that. That Alex Bregman walk-off. My God. Sometimes those train tracks really play. I will admit that, Houston. Framber with 6 shutty. Houston is back Dodgers, James Outman opposite field. Okay. Interested to see if he gets in the mix in anything in the next couple days. Padres, they take 2 out of 3 from the Baltimore Orioles. Man, Mike King is so fun to watch pitch. Him and Dean Kramer both pitch pretty well. Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts. Couple guys that have been in and out of the Padres first half. They go. Profar has a 2-homer game, and that's obvious. Baltimore, they fight off the sweep. O'Hearn, Ryan Mountcastle. They're kind of platoon first base DH. They bring him good efforts there. The Toronto Blue Jays sweep the Texas Rangers. Does that change anything in Texas? Next couple games could be interesting. Kikuchi, did he pitch his last game as a Toronto Blue Jay? We know Michael Lorenzen did in a 4-inning emergency bulk appearance as they had to string something together there. Toronto, Ernie Clement walk-off. Gossman goes complete game. Could he be in the mix? Barrios pitch as well. Interested to see what else happens in Toronto the next couple days. The Minnesota Twins take 2 out of 3 from the Detroit Tigers, and that's obvious. You might hear about the nightmare Bailey Ober in his 8 innings, 1-hit baseball. Pablo Lopez getting back on track for the Twins. That could be important for them. Oh, God, the Minnesota Moose, Matt Wallner. You know Matt Vierling put on a show for Trevor in Game 2. No one cares. Cincinnati Reds. They lose 2 out of 3 to the Rays because the Rays don't really care who's on their team. That's their secret sauce. Reds won that first game in extras. Lodolo pitched well. Doesn't matter, though. Stuart Fairchild back for them with the double to take the lead. And then Zach Littell goes 7-inning shutout. Absolutely. Why not? Hunter Green, 7-inning shut piece, and they lose that game 2-1. Cincy, we keep wanting it. Feels like Padres from last year. Cubs take 2 out of 3 from the Royals. Buying? Royals won that first game 6-0. Brady Singer, 7 shutout. We love that for them. But the Cubbies came back. Oh, I forgot Vinny Pasquantino texted me. Disappointed in me. We'll circle back on that.
Obviously.
Yeah. Pete Crow Armstrong, our guy, 3 hits in that final game. Cubbies get 2 games and maybe they're involved. Let's find out. A's and Angels played. Did you know? 4 games. The A's took the first 3, Trev. Your guy Elbutt keeps balling out.
American League Player of the Month.
My guy Daz Cameron. I'm friends with his pops. And you know Brent Rooker hit a couple home runs. Excuse me. Taylor Ward, will he be traded? He homers in that final game. Kevin Pillar with 3 hits, obviously, as the Halos salvage one. And the Seattle Mariners handle your business. They sweep the White Sox 10-0 in that first game. George Kirby, Brian Woo-Woo, and Bryce Miller get it done. Man, a lot of good pitchers in this series. That's how I advertise it. Mitch Garver with 3 hits. Victor Robles has some splits you can chop up. That's what happened in the American League, at least the trade deadline up. Is that the last one? Sure was. You got the standings, Trev.
The American League, that's what you just talked about, right?
You have to have the American.
I got him.
Jolly kind of dunked on both of us this morning. Don't like
Jolly
that.
Jolly needs to relax. Yeah. The Mets have given him so much confidence. It's ridiculous. I'm going to start in the Central, though, because that's who I am.
Yeah.
I'm a flyover state guy. The Cleveland Guardians continue.
If you were, I don't think you'd say that.
I think that's a point of pride now.
Yeah.
I think there's some songs out there that mention it. The Guardians keep winning. They, obviously beat the Phillies. The Phillies are kind of in a little struggle bus as of late. 63-42 for the Guards. I believe it's the best record in the American League, and it is. My Twins, 4.5 games back of them, 58-46. Kansas City, 57-49. Detroit, 52-55. And then the White Sox on the 14-game cooler, 27-81. That's insane. We'll go out west, where the Houston Astros and the Mariners are tied atop the division. 55-50 for the Astros, 56-51 for the Mariners. I guess percentage points, it's the Astros right now. Texas, 4.5 games back there. They're 4 games under 500, 51-55. Trade Nathan Eovaldi to my Twins.
No.
46-40 for the Halos. And then the Angels, 44-64. They've been playing better baseball as of late. Did I say the Angels? And then Oakland? I don't know what I just said. You know what I'm talking about. And then out east, Baltimore, 62-43. The Yanks 1 game behind them at 62-45. Boston, 6.5 games back of the division, 55-49. Tampa Bay, 54-52. Okay, Tampa. Are they gonna? What do we have them at? 86 games.
84.5.
That's gonna be close. And then Toronto, 49-56. What is you doing, baby? And in the wild card, the Yanks have the first spot. The Twins have the second spot. The Royals have the third spot. And then behind them, Boston 1 game out. Houston and Seattle, whichever one is off, they'll be 1.5 games back of the wild card. Tampa's still 3 games out. And those are the standings in the American League.
Vinny Pasquantino texted me. A YouTube short popped up on his YouTube page that was, the Royals will get better, but we're not sure how much better. And he said he was excited to talk a little shit because they might clear their over-under total in August or September.
He found one from way back when?
Yeah.
They already passed last year's win total, right?
Yeah. We said, dude, it's crazy to think about them getting 20 games better.
Yeah, I mean, we had a nice.
Fair. It's a fair analysis.
That's what I told him. I was like, you guys are on a historic win differential pace. And he's like, yeah, historically speaking, kind of insane, huh? Yes. And I was like, okay.
Hey,
he's a guy.
Congrats on your beef sandwich. I would try.
Yeah, right?
I'd try that one.
And then he posted a picture of him with his Chris Rose rotation mug, which, again, it's a weird one for me when people like Chris Rose. Yeah.
Pop, hit the National League.
Okay. Oh, okay. Lamborghini Mercy. This is a little tight because the Atlanta Braves, I almost said the Atlanta Mets, Jesus. The New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves. Here come the Mets. They win the first 2 games. In the 10th inning, Laureano can't snag it. The Mets come back on Senga Day. He looks good. Oh no, he looks out for the year with a calf. And then here comes Spencer Schwellenbach, 7-inning shut piece. And then the Braves win 9-2 on the final game to kind of restore how they feel about themselves versus the Mets. Guard Dogs, they took 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. Your guy Penn Lively shoves against your guy Christopher Sanchez in Game 1. Tyler Phillips, might hear more about him in a little bit. 9-inning shut piece for the Phillies. And then Christmas come early, singing Rejoice Noel Noel. John Kensey with the homer, and Stephen Kwan as well as they get it done in the final game to win that series against the Phillies. They are feeling it a little bit. D-backs take 2 out of 3 from the Pirates because it's snake season, man. Been trying to tell you, we're waiting for that Pirates trade. They do win in extras on Keller Day. He goes 7 innings, 2 earned runs. Oh, my guy Yilber was out there. Favorite name in the game right now. Jake McCarthy with a 5-hit day. Zach Gallen delivering 6 innings, 3 earned runs. It's a better brand of baseball. Speaking of better brand of baseball, Los Jugador Gigantes.
Wow.
4 games. Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Trev's rethinking. 4-game sweep of the Colorado Rockies. They're going to hold on to McMahon. Smart. Hayden, show me your bird song. 5 innings, 0 earned runs, 8 Ks. Him, Snell, Harrison with 11 Ks for them. I don't know, man. Tyler Fitzgerald's out of his mind. You know Elliot Ramos has 2 hits and a homer in every game he plays. Matt Chapman with a couple days at the Giants, I just straight up don't know. Excited
All
to
I said
see.
was Snell. I didn't say everybody else.
Nationals take 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals. Cardinals, hey? Yeah. Nats win that first game in extras, 10-8. That hurts. They roll him the next day with Jake Swervin Irvin against Gibby. Wow, your guy and my guy. James Wood, man, this kid.
Gibby didn't give up all those runs.
No, he sure didn't.
Thank you.
James Wood, 4-hit day at the office. He's got a chance. But Paul Goldschmidt walks him off on the final day, swinging that Paul Bunyan bat he carries around for the Cardinals to get out of there with a win. And then the Marlins take 2 out of 3 from the Brewers. These second-half Marlins are different. We've got Xavier Edwards, the original slapdick prospect with a cycle. Go Marlins, go. Brian De La Cruz, are you good? Josh Bell gets waived. I don't know. Brewers win the last game. Get me out of here. Give me the NL standings.
Of course, I have the NL standings for you. I'm going to start out East because that's what I do.
Yes.
My Phillies 65-40. Atlanta 8.5 games back of them at 56-48. Those Mets 55-50. The Nationals 49-57. They've fallen off a cliff essentially, but that's okay. This wasn't your year this year. Miami 39-67. Out West, the Dodgers 63-44. 6.5 games up. Like, it doesn't look that far anymore. 6.5 games up on the Padres, who are 57-51. Diamondbacks 55-51. San Francisco 53-55. And the Rockies 38-69. In the wild card, Atlanta holding on to that top spot. I believe it was the Mets for a brief second, but Atlanta has it now. They're a game and a half up. The Padres have the second spot. Then the Mets have the third spot. But then right behind them, Arizona's a half game back. The Cardinals are 1 game back. Pittsburgh's 2 games back. The Giants only 3.5 games back right now. All I said about the Giants was that they should entertain a Blake Snell trade. That's all I said. I don't want them to break their team down. Player option next year. You got pitching coming back. We'll see how it goes. That's all I said, people. Don't get mad at me. Pop, those are the standings in the NL.
Yeah, I guess a little, again, for a unique episode, a little standings overview here. Tampa in a funny spot, 3 games out of the wild card. I mean, if there was an organization that you feel like could have that Brewers Corbin Burns effect, stuff that we don't believe in but do believe in, like the Rays just being like, we don't care who's really here. We're still going to do our thing. I don't know.
Can I give Milwaukee fans just a little bit of like, what? Real quick? A little, what?
Ryan Braun?
Ryan Braun went into the Milwaukee Brewers Hall of Fame. He had his thing. I wish I could have been there. Sorry, Rye.
You've been on the road. Yeah.
I'm working, bro. Sheesh. I talked to somebody who's thinking, hey, is it possible for me to come back and be a hitter on the Brewers right now? And I'm not going to say who it is.
You?
It's not me, the hitter. I'm saying I was talking to somebody who said, can I come back and help this team?
Talking to Keston Hura?
I was not talking to Keston Hura. Huh? What?
There's always little Easter eggs throughout this whole program. Man, the NL wild card, dog.
Devin Williams back. I like that.
Didn't know he left.
Jake, let's move on to the second half of the show.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, we already are, but let's do our
standout
performances. Who stood out this week, Trev?
I'm giving it to my Minnesota Twin guy, Bailey Ober. Sorry, guys. I saw it in person. He was absolutely lights out. And I want to say this. I don't like to butter knife stats. I don't.
I do.
You do. He's had 2 starts against the Royals. One, he went 1 1/3 innings, gave up 8 earned runs or something like that. Then he went 4 innings against them, 6 earned runs. They have absolutely demolished him this year. I'm not saying they have something on him. I'm not saying they don't have something on him. But every other start has been phenomenal. Like, this guy is real deal. He's Mr. Consistency. Last year, he was that guy. It was 6 innings pitched, 3 or less runs given up. He was a quality start king. He's been doing that again. And so, a lot of the talk has been, okay, what about Minnesota's rotation in the postseason? Pablo seems like he's kind of come around. He's found a little bit. But Bailey has been very, very good, and I think under the radar good. He went 8 innings pitched to 1 hit, 11 Ks, 2 walks. The 1 hit, of course it was Matt Vierling. Of course, 63 miles an hour blooper over the first baseman's head. And then he stole his first 2 bags of the year. He knew I was watching, Jake. Matt Vierling knew I was up there. He went from center field to third base. He stole bags. The guy was all over the place, and just up my love for him. But he spoiled what could have been a very, very special night for Bailey, because that was the only hit of the game for the Tigers. And Bailey's pitch count was in good shape. I think he went 8 innings pitched, 94 pitches. He would have been able to go back out for the 9th. And shoot, man. Bailey Ober's a stud. The nightmare.
Yeah. Great. Twins. I'm going to...
Oh, no.
The Los Angeles Dodgers.
Oh, no.
Traded right-handed pitcher Ricky Vanasco to the Tigers for cash considerations. Jake, your standout.
Jesus.
Ricky Vanasco.
Beavers.
Did you play with him? Nolasco.
That's a nice catch.
Me, Ricky, and Giancarlo, we used to.
AJ Ramos. Out in Hollywood.
My standout could have gone a lot of ways with this, Trev, and I've got bad news for us. We're on a team shit list because we didn't talk to Jesse Winker to the Mets trade.
Oh, no.
We're on their shit list.
That did happen.
And
Winker already hates me.
Maybe I'll say I'm going to move it to my standout or my award. Because I was going to mention JD Martinez. There's some rumors that he could get traded and Winker could be the DH.
Did the Mets need more hitting? They're crushing the ball lately. Let's go.
Can't stop hitting.
Love that.
DJ Stewart.
Aaron Judge got on base 6 times, but I'm not a homer like Trev.
Shut up.
I'm going Tyler Fitzgerald, bro. It's a Giants episode, I've decided.
Did his dad write the Great Gatsby book?
No, he wrote the Star Spangled Banner.
I believe his dad was a big leaguer, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Who wrote the Star Spangled Banner? Was that a Fitzgerald?
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote Great Gatsby.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I was talking about.
Anyways.
F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Right?
F him.
Screw him.
That's wow.
I don't love that book.
Trev, do you like shortstops, right? A young shortstop?
I love a young shortstop.
26 years young. Had Passon tweeting about him, and when Horny Jeff comes out about you, that means you've been doing something. And sure, we're playing the Rocks. That's fine. But I'll even butter knife this out, and I don't even know if he's coming up in the Corona Extra Fuego. Tyler Fitzgerald's been going insane. He's been 1.5ing for the past 11 games. He's got 8 homers in 11 games. Young shortstop.
Yeah.
If we're talking about the Giants doing things in the upcoming weeks, having this guy play like that really changes your outlook. So Tyler Fitzgerald balling out. He had a 2-homer game on the 26th. His numbers are in a really good place. Man, the Giants, I don't think they're selling shit.
Okay.
I think they think they're going to dance. So shout out to the kid, and I feel like I should have looked to see if he's coming up in the best segment of the show, brought to you by Corona Extra.
Dirt nasties on Fuego. That means I'm on fire, baby. Like Waco.
He was, I believe, my Corona Extra Player of the Week last ep.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was also funny. Saw this from my Dodgers followers. You know, the Giants got rid of Nick Ahmed.
Right.
Let Tyler Fitzgerald play, let the kids play, and the Dodgers picked up Nick Ahmed, and I believe he got a go-ahead hit against the Giants.
Okay.
So that's just baseball.
That's baseball.
You got to love that.
Homered in one of those games.
Well, this is in Fuego.
Yeah.
And we're going to go for the series, and nobody's ever seen you and Kyle Schwarber in the same room, very similar body types. He's just a little bigger, a little stronger. Also, still uses my walk-up song. I think I was an influence for that. 6 for 11 in the series, 2 dub pieces. 3 Jimmy Jacks, 6 runs driven in for the 2-daughter. He recorded his 40th career leadoff homer and his 29th career multi-home run game on Sunday. Your guy, people have seen you guys in the same room, Jorge Soler.
Yeah.
He went 9 for 15, 3 doubles, a homer, 4 runs driven in. He has 16 doubles since June 1st. That's tied for the lead in the major leagues during that span. Jorge Polanco, welcome to the show, Jorge. I bought you your first suit in the big leagues, baby. I love this guy. And he's back. And maybe that's what the Mariners need. Jorge, show up. Julio, get back from injury. Show up. Let's go. He went 5 for 13. 3 homers. 5 runs driven in. 5 runs scored against the White Sox. That's sweep. For the week, Xander Bogaerts. San Diego's going nuts right now, by the way. Let's go. That's your team until they're not your team.
Kinda.
Yeah, you have too many teams.
A lot of love, hate.
14 for 24, 3 doubles, a triple, a homer, 4 runs driven in for the 1.5 during the week. Josh Bell, who just got put on waivers. Yeah. So, hey,
wow,
Mariners, go get Josh Bell. I don't know. That seems pretty easy. He was just 12 for 28, a double, 5 home runs. You could use Josh Bell. Holy shnikes. And then for the 2 weeks, a lot of Jake Storiale lookalikes.
Yeah, I know.
Tyler O'Neill, 14 for 34, 3 doubles, 6 homers, 12 runs driven in for the 1.4. How about our guy Gavin Lux? Let's go, Gavin. Not Newsom. Gavin Lux. 13. That's not political. 13 for 28. 4 doubles, 3 homers, 8 runs driven in. He has 5 multi-hit games in 10 games since the All-Star break. The third highest average, the third highest OPS since the All-Star break. Let's go, Gavin Lux. And then last but not least, Oakland reliever Tyler Ferguson. 7 games over the last 2 weeks. 8 and a third innings pitched. Only 2 hits, no runs, 12 Ks. Wow. And you know we're doing our Corona and Fuego player of the ep, and that is Cincinnati starting pitcher Hunter Mother effing Green.
Yes.
Over the last week, he's had 2 starts, but it's gotten more than that. But over these last 2 starts, 14 innings pitched, only 4 hits, no earned runs, 12 Ks. He's allowed only 1 earned run over his 4 July starts. That's 27 innings pitched, Jake, for a .33 ERA. That ERA in the month of July is the best in Major League Baseball. And he'd gone 7+ innings 3 times in July, something he'd only done 3 other times in his first 17 starts of the season. And I'm going to ask you this, Jake.
Ask me.
How team-friendly does the Hunter Green contract seem right now? The guy has amassed 4.6 WAR. I believe it's the highest starting pitcher WAR in all of baseball. At least the National League.
Have to double check, but
Check that, Beebs, right now for me. A 2.97 ERA on the year, okay? He's signed through 2028. He's got a 29-team option, 6 years, $53 million, okay? So he's making 3 this year. He's making 6 next year. He's making 8 the year after that, then 15, then 16. The team option in 2029 is $21 million. This is a steal of a deal for the Reds. So congratulations, Hunter. You're a Corona Extra player of the ep.
thank you, Corona. Make sure you
I could use a Corona.
get yourself some, right? Get yours at ordercorona.com. 21 plus. Relax responsibly. Corona Extra beer imported by Crown Imports. It's that time of year. Summer's here. Grinding Coronas. Patio, pool, baseball game. Wherever. Find your beach. That used to be their thing. I guess I can't steal that. Go get yourself a Corona
you didn't
Extra.
make that up.
Yeah.
Don't you act like you
That's
just made
not
that
me.
up. Yeah,
I just didn't know if they're still doing that campaign. Hunter Green, 297. A lot of strikeouts. The Hunter Green breakout is here.
Biebers, do you check the WAR for me? I mean, I can do it too.
What's the full question?
I'll do it. I got it. Jake, go on. I got it.
Face. Let's do the IL. It's the worst segment of the show after the best segment of the show. Guys who went on the IL. Ooh, didn't know this one. Riley Green. Uh-oh.
Yes, you did.
That's not the guy the Tigers can lose if they're trying to make a story. Kodai Sang, I mentioned this. He worked his way back, and then to have a calf injury out for the year. I mean, brutal. Just absolutely brutal. Let's see, Brian Hudson in that Milwaukee pin. Ranger Suarez for Philly.
Yeah. I think he needed
That
a little
could be
break.
okay.
I think he needed a little break. He was getting hit around. I think
can
they
be
needed
okay.
a little rest. Yeah.
Another one, Nick at Night, Nick Gonzalez for Pittsburgh. He's been hitting a lot for them. Be interesting. They still haven't done their deadline work. Returning from the IL, Paul Blackburn for Oakland. Okay. TJ Friedel for Cincinnati. Royce Lewis for Minnesota. How about that?
He back.
Jeffrey Springs for Tampa. Did not know that. Watch out for him. And Devin Williams for the Milwaukee Brewers. Your first place Milwaukee Brewers. MJ Melendez, Jose Miranda, Hunter Stratton in that Pittsburgh bullpen. So that's what's going on in the IL. I think we can start everyone's week now. That'd be nice.
Awards!
Congratulations to
Yeah.
Kels and Casey, who found out they're having a baby girl,
It's exciting.
which is the best.
And you know what's a good Southern baby girl name? Jake.
What?
Yeah.
I was going to say like Palmer.
That is.
They like
That was.
Southern girl names are like gender neutral.
Yeah, Jake.
I've never had a girl I've never seen a girl.
You never had?
heard of a girl named Jake. It's a good dog name.
Trev, where's your award going?
I'm going to give the Young Jeezy award. I don't know if you guys know, there's a song that he has called "Put On," and we can't sing it, but I can read some lyrics. I put on for my city, on for my city. I put on for my city, on for my city. What's wider than a napkin, harder than a dinner plate? If you want it, come and get it. You know I stay super straight.
That? What was that?
That's a lyric.
Harder than a napkin?
What's wider than a napkin, harder than a dinner plate?
What's the answer?
I think it's like, not like me. It's drugs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like
I thought he was talking.
Don't do those. By the way, if you're listening,
do drugs.
I'm being honest. That's the dumbest thing.
I
you
thought
could
he
do.
was talking about Kibasa at first.
No. I mean, there's a lot of awesome lyrics in here.
Okay.
They know I got that broccoli, so I keep that Glock on me. Don't get caught with that one coming where I'm from, obviously. The whole song is about putting on for your city.
Right.
Don't worry about all the other stuff he says. We're just, wherever you're from, you're repping. You're trying to put on for your city. It's self-explanatory. People, I don't need to get in and do all this with you. There's one guy that put on for a city. That put on for his city. And that is our guy, Tyler Phillips.
Sure did.
Starting pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, who, they don't really need starting pitching. They've been pretty straight with all their starts. You did mention Ranger Suarez well on the IL, and here comes Tyler Phillips. In his last 2 starts, Jake, he's went 15 innings pitched, given up 8 hits in those starts, and no runs. He had a game against Cleveland, one of the best offenses in the game. Like, they hit and they're pesky and they go nuts. He threw a complete game shutout against them. Saturday, a night game, Cleveland, at home, in front of his home crowd. He put on for his city. He went 9, 4 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, lowered his ERA to 1.8 on the season. Now, he's from a lifelong Phillies fan from South Jersey. Now, if you don't know, that's a lot of people who root for the Phillies. South Jersey is just right there. I didn't know that until I played for the Phillies. So he's 26 years old. He threw the 9 scoreless innings. He says, I've never done that before. He had some really good quotes after this. Rob Thompson mentioned his composure and the poise. You're a rookie. You're going into the 9th inning with a chance to throw a complete game. He was as calm as could be. He walked up the dugout steps to receive a standing ovation from the Phillies fans. He said, my body has never felt that before. You get chills. You're trying not to laugh. You want to tear up. You're choked up. I don't know what was going on, but I felt like I was able to throw 100 miles an hour at that point. All I wanted to do was sit those guys back down on the bench. It was if you haven't seen the highlights, go check it out to see like his emotion. And I think it's encapsulated in that quote by him, going out there for the 9th, getting the standing ovation from the fans. Phillies fans have just been, over the last 4 seasons, have just really put themselves, I would say, on top of the fandom poll. They have had a good team to root for. I think that's important.
Right.
But they have shown up and been there and just been awesome during times like this. So you got a guy, Tyler Phillips, who's been a Phillies fan his whole life, who's, I'm sure, been to a bunch of Phillies games. I'm sure he's been one of those people in the crowd giving those ovations to Chase Utley, to Ryan Howard, and to Jimmy Rollins.
Rob McElhaney.
Jim Rollins. And now he's getting a standing ovation after throwing a freaking complete game shutout on a Saturday night. I just thought it was cool, man. He put on for his city. Young Jeezy Award.
I'm glad we hit that. I think that's what the people want to hear from you and me.
Why I popped my chain.
Chain looks good today. Man, before I wrap it up with my final word, I want to tell you guys about Fanatics Fest. If you haven't heard about this, kind of a big deal. Think Comic-Con, but for sports. Athletes, teams, collectibles, memorabilia. 3-day event. Know who's going to be there? Hall of Famers. Jeter. Brady. The Manning brothers. You know who else is going to be there? Plouffe. O'Brien.
Yeah.
Stromboli. Because we're doing a live special edition JM baseball show there. think Rosie's coming out. I think.
What are we doing? I still I need to get caught up.
Yeah,
on all
right.
This.
It's like this is like a big deal.
Have we had a meeting about this
We're
yet?
center stage on the 16th, and we're gonna have a booth set up all weekend long with some of our warehouse game stuff, trivia, and everything. This is like a huge thing. Fanatics is rolling this out there. Go to fanaticsfest.com, grab your tickets, and we'll see you there. Click the link in the description. I'm giving out the Soul Survivor Award.
I'm a survivor.
No, the Soul Survivor. Because that's Akon and Young Jeezy trying to take it easy.
Akon and Young Jeezy.
Because I'm a writer.
Crushed it for a while.
Yo, Akon. If
The kids don't know about Akon.
the kids don't really know. Spend a day. Akon's got a collection.
Also, just exclusively does charity work in Africa now. Go check that out. I thought that was really cool.
But if you're looking for me, I'll be on the block with my thing cocked. Possibly sitting on a drop now. Because I'm a writer. Yeah. I'm a soul survivor. We've had a writer on the show before. Jesse Winker. He was a big rider in the Scooter Gang.
Yeah, I was out. I was not allowed in it.
No, and I liked that. And I'm pretty bummed out that I forgot to mention the Winker trade because I think he is an asset, man. And my famous worst interview question ever was telling Jesse Winker how good he is. And Jesse Winker being like, yeah, not a question. Man, baseball reference pages can tell a lot of a story. Know how Jesse Winker went to Seattle and he struggled, right? That's what we all have in our heads. It was a 103 OPS plus because Seattle's a gnarly place to play. Last year is technically his only season ever without a positive OPS plus, and it was 61 games, and he was hurt. So, Jesse Winker went over to the Nationals, and between the Seattle year and the Milwaukee year, I think it felt worse than it was. As now you're looking on paper, that I feel bad, man. I think this guy's an asset, and I'm not sure what the Mets are going to do. I think the idea is that Bader goes to the bench, Nimmo goes to center, and Bader can be a defensive replacement because Winker doesn't grade out great there. Career 810 OPS. He's got a 129 OPS plus this year. Jesse Winker's kind of a baller, man, and I don't know. I've been kind of drinking the Mets Kool-Aid because they've been electric, and I felt bad that I left that trade out, so I want to talk about it now.
Shout out Jesse, only 30 years old. He's got a lot of baseball left in him. And he's trimmed down, and he seems nice and fit this year. Went to the Nationals, reestablished his value.
14 stolen bases.
He's gonna get a nice check.
This is gonna be. I had him going to Pittsburgh in our trade draft, and I think there's gonna be a lot of teams that look back and are like, "Wait, we could have had this guy."
I like that
because you didn't have to pay a lot. It's a true rental. Sorry, Mets fans, you'll probably be mad either way. Let's talk about it tomorrow.
2020 year, possibly. If it gets going on the homers.
In one good 2-week period.
Get hot, kid. And that's a good lineup. That lineup's been hot. And he's got his whole Mets relationship with the kid in the stands. We had him and Chris Rose on Rose rotation. Too much Chris Rose today. Yeah, you might see a little bit of him tomorrow. Thank you, guys. We're here. We're here.
It's time.
31 hours. Oh, no. That sucks. I don't know where to put that.
You're welcome, everybody. You want some more.
My audition for movie hostage.
All right, let's go do the real thing now.